Hello, everyone. It's a really great background I have there. Um, so, I wanted to give a brief introduction here and why I'm doing this. So, I've been reading Mandela Effects stuff on the Mandela Effect subreddit and on Retconned for years and years. And the first time I was introduced to this, hey Penny, I was, um, I was literally on my phone and an article came up and it said something like, are the Berenstein Bears proof of an alternate universe? And I happened to be with my friend Kent at the time, who I've known now for like 26 years. And, I went through the article and I was kind of just floored that it wasn't Berenstein Bears at all. And he said something like, well, when I was young, I saw that it wasn't actually spelled like that. It was spelled Stain, not Steen, but I didn't say anything. Everyone else called it, Berenstein. So I just went with it. So in my mind, I'm kind of just like, yeah, sure, all right. So he's not someone who actually has paid much attention to the Mandela effects. I think that he he has used the word retconned in normal speech, which made me almost totally torpedo this idea. But I think generally, when I came up with this, I wanted to test this out on someone who has, in my opinion, an exceptional memory. This is not somebody who has a memory of every single day of his life, like like Marilu Henner, and there's only about 10 or 15 people on the earth documented that have the ability to do that. They can basically see their entire lives like they were basically just like an iCal or Google Calendar, where any date they pull up, they remember what was going on that date. His memory isn't like that, but I'd say it's right below it. I'd say that he remembers names, dates, historical events, able to tie things together. Very good memory for what was said. Just things in the media, things going on in the world. Very good head for history. Um, and yeah, and so yeah, just someone who is out of the community and someone who had a very good memory. And so this is just kind of a test. And I don't know if I'll ever be doing this ever again, but if you like it, if you enjoy it, if you think um, you know, like what he has to say, then leave a comment. And also, I threw in a number of other questions, things that I knew he would be a little bit might be excited to talk about, or things that I've been wondering, mainly science related. And also just to throw him off if he ever got the suspicion that, now wait a minute, I may have seen an article that had this, and this. Uh, you know, but as it turned out, he didn't really catch on to it. There was one part where he said, yeah, it turns out that that phrase actually wasn't said in the movie, but referring to Play It Again, Sam. But other than that, I had a really good time. And so hopefully we will learn something about the Mandela effect and also just about maybe how language is used in English and, can we trust our memories and, whatever. So, all right, let's get into it. We'll see. Oh, and of course it's not ringing, right? Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Y-
Yes, I
y-
can hear you.
yes, I can. Okay, good.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, I was gonna. So,
What do you need me to do?
so, I was gonna first talk to you about something about eBay, but that can probably wait. That's.
That's whatever.
yeah. So anyway, this is these are just questions based on what you remember or what you think. And there's no real right or wrong answers.
Ah,
So, some of them are just for
the good old opinion interview type thing.
no, no,
Right.
it's they're facts, but I mean there's still no
Sure.
right or wrong. Yeah, okay. Well, some of them are opinion, I think.
Got,
Okay.
got it. Alternate facts. Got it.
Yeah, alternate. Yes. Okay. First question. You probably like this one. What happens in the last part of Moonraker, the James Bond movie?
The last part of the James Bond movie Moonraker. I
Yes.
seem to recall that there was like a space battle where James Bond calls in the reinforcements, and whatever space agencies somehow have this beautiful like attack force or kind of like paramilitary group that comes up and attacks the base where the bad guy. As I recall, I have not seen Moonraker in probably 30 years. I remember the bad guy. His name was Drax or something,
Uh-huh.
and they're able to stop him. And then somehow James Bond is able to escape with the woman, whoever that is, along with the actor or the henchman Jaws, the guy with metal teeth, who's we at that point in the movie becomes a good guy because he realizes that he's being sacrificed by
Mm-hmm.
the and they make it back to Earth and safely and land in the ocean. And I believe isn't James Bond recovered, having a martini
Yeah.
canoodling with whoever the female lead was for that movie.
Yeah. What is the
I,
fee?
I I have not seen that movie in 30 years, but I remember that
Okay.
like
So
roughly, and remember it not being a very good movie, just being off the wall, bonkers, 1970s sci-fi, just over the
yeah.
top.
So
Yeah,
what's the woman's name? Uh
in Moonraker,
yeah.
I it wasn't the sister of what's her name of the woman who played. It wasn't the sister of Barbara Bach or the woman who was on Daisy Duke. She was in the previous movie. What was that? The Spy Who Loved Me. But I do not recall. I'm gonna guess that she. I forgot the. I do not recall. She didn't make
Okay.
much of a point. Like
Okay.
anything, you looked it up on the internet, but it's not.
Uh
Was it? Wasn't? Oh, there was. There was a woman in that movie, but it was the same woman, Corinne Cleary, who was in the story of O. But she wasn't the woman. I thought.
oh.
She wasn't the female lead.
Okay. Did
That's
she
what anyway.
did
I'm
she
going
have a
off on a tangent.
scene with like one of the bad guys in that?
I would assume so. I don't remember the whole. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that movie. What happens?
Okay. And what was the main feature of what the bad guy you said was named what again? Like
It was. I remember it was like Hugo Drax is what I recall, and he was trying to like destroy all life on the Earth so he could like repopulate the Earth with his own
uh,
super race of people.
uh, no, I mean the other the guy you said was named Jaws.
Jaws. He had metal teeth, and he was hired as a henchman. He was in two back-to-back James Bond movies.
Okay.
Was that? I'm trying to think. The actor's name was Richard Keel, and he had suffered from some sort of gigantism or something that made him big and
Oh,
bulky, and that's why he died relatively young.
so like Andre the Giant, basically.
Something like that, or maybe it wasn't that bad, or he suffered from some condition that made
Hmm.
him big.
Huh. Giant, yeah. Okay. So okay. All right. Cool. Well, you know.
Okay.
And I guess this is pretty easy. I don't know why I wrote this. Who wrote or who sang actually? Who sang "Staying Alive"? The song "Staying Alive."
I would assume the Bee Gees sang it. I don't know if they wrote it, but they sang it in that movie, Saturday Night Fever.
Ah, who was in the who was the main singer? Was it
With the Gibb brothers.
oh, okay.
And weren't they all? Weren't there three Gibb brothers, and then they had their other brother Andy Gibb, who was around.
I don't really know. I don't really know much about it,
I
honestly.
think aren't they all? There was like isn't only one of the Bee Gees is left. They're all dead. They were all three Gibb brothers. They're all brothers, and their last name was Gibb. And then they had a fourth brother named Andy Gibb,
Oh, okay.
died young. Who died young because he loved Victoria Principal, the actress.
All right. Interesting. And the Rock's main slogan.
There's a lot of them. I don't know. You smell what the Rock is cooking, is what I would say.
Okay,
Or
cool.
you know,
No,
or
that's
SmackDown Hotel. But sure,
not
whatever.
gonna. Okay, okay, cool. Now, once you told me it was not against the physical laws of the universe to bring back someone from the dead. Uh, can you go into that a bit more?
I suppose if imagine if somebody had died and their body had broken down and had turned into dust and ashes, could they spontaneously reassemble into back into themselves from matter in the universe? You know, at to which they would be themselves at a certain age. You know, at any point during their life, could it happen? It could happen
Okay.
spontaneously. Matter could just rearrange itself and perfectly recreate your dead grandmother, age 18. But it's
Uh-huh.
it's possible, but highly improbable.
So,
The,
okay,
the physical laws of the universe don't preclude it from happening, but
right.
I'm sure the universe, it'll never happen in the history of the universe. The grandmother isn't that important.
Do you know,
Let's get
is there is there like certain forces that would cause that to happen in the
I
universe?
would say probability and thermodynamics would have to go out to lunch for have to, get really drunk and go out to lunch in order for that confluence of events to happen to make that happen. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to make grandma come back.
Interesting. So they have to go out to lunch. Okay, so I mean, it's technically not following the laws of the universe because thermodynamics is a law.
Yes, yeah. So far as we know it, those pesky laws of thermodynamics.
All right, fair enough. Um, you said only you can prevent forest fires. Remember that?
Who said that?
Yeah.
I believe, wasn't it Smokey the Bear?
Yes, I think so.
Who told children that and probably weirded them out and made them think, what, me? But
What me? Yeah, because most of the kids he's talking to aren't living inside a forest. Um,
true, they were probably eating their cornflakes on Saturday morning,
right.
watching cartoons.
All right. Do you remember how the Lindbergh baby story went? How did it go?
Didn't Charles Lindbergh have a baby that was abducted, but then they tried to find it, but then it was revealed later that the baby had either been killed or died, and then whoever, um, I think somebody was eventually arrested for the crime and hopefully confessed or was linked to it. And by the standards of early 20th century criminology, hopefully they got the right guy. But I think it wasn't revealed that throughout the nationwide search for this baby that it was probably more than likely already had died.
So did they find
So
a body or no?
I believe that I thought they found a body of some child that they somehow determined was the Lindenberg baby. That's what I recall. I'm going by, I think, I might have heard on a History Channel blurb once, so hopefully it's true.
Okay, sure. Um,
Lindenberg was a Nazi, anyways, so yeah, F him.
yeah, it was in a show. Well, yeah, I had an extra part in a show where it was a revisionist history of what if Lindbergh had become
Become president
president
or
and then
something?
he,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
it was called, oh shit, I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, it was like he became president, and then he started allying with Hitler, and then he built camps like in the
outstanding
yeah
for special people for who we people. Yeah, got it.
yeah it was the plot against America. That's what it was called. Excuse me. Okay. Ruth Gordon.
Is still dead.
Okay, thank you.
Wasn't she born in 1896?
Yeah, something.
Contemporary of the Marx Brothers? Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's dead still.
Okay, she's not reassembled.
I know, and not every old woman that you see is Ruth Gordon in disguise.
Okay, good.
Ruth Gordon is gone now.
Okay.
It pains me to say that, but I think she's been dead since the mid '80s, as I recall.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Okay, it's the most memorable line from Field of Dreams.
If you build it, they will come.
I see. Okay.
That's the only line I remember.
Okay. Good. Cool.
Other than maybe strike one or ball one. I don't know. I guess they said that.
I no, that's what.
I've not seen that movie. I haven't seen that movie in more than 30 years.
Okay, well,
Definitely.
that's what I was. That's what I was looking for. Okay, how many were in the car when Kennedy was shot?
Ooh, that's it. There were four. I
Mm,
and I believe what was the driver, whoever that was. What Governor Connolly was in front in the shotgun seat. Kennedy was in the back seat, right passenger, and his wife was on the left passenger, as I recall.
okay.
And certainly after the first shot, that's when you saw Secret Service agents running up to the car, diving into the back to try and cover the president. But by then it was too late. I only recall four from
Yeah. Well,
my life.
do you know do you remember how many seats there were in the car?
there might there might have been room for five people. I would assume there was a bench for three in the back, but
Hmm.
as I recall, not as opposed to seats. But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
actually
just recall four people. My last time I saw the Zapruder film. Hopefully, I'm right.
yeah, I think you're right. I think actually his wife was crawling around because she was looking for like a piece of his
His
skull or
skull
something.
frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
how else do you react in the moment like that
well,
when something like that happens?
yeah, I mean, I saw this thing on I think it was Hulu like JFK one day in America, something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that was where they. All right. Yeah, this one's stupid. All right. What do you think is the purpose of dark matter or dark energy?
Well, dark matter and dark energy are two different things. Are we talking dark matter or dark energy?
Let's say start with dark matter, I guess.
I guess dark matter, the purpose of it is, I guess we believe dark matter or something we call dark matter exists because there is uh, gravity or sources of gravity in the universe that are not accounted for. And what
Hmm.
we see, if we look at just the observation matter that we can see, the matter that comprises us, the matter that we're familiar with in our day-to-day lives, it doesn't possess enough mass to account for galaxies being able to stay together and not fly apart. And it looks as if most
Hmm.
galaxies might be almost maybe 80% or more in matter than in a form we call dark matter. We've yet to determine what that might be. But of course, I think it varies from galaxy to galaxy. But we're missing, in that sense, a good amount of the matter of the universe is missing, and we call it dark matter until we hopefully find out what it is. Be it
Hmm.
some sort of new particle, I don't know, micro black holes, or a mix of a lot of things.
Hmm. Okay. And dark energy?
Dark energy is we see there's a force that is pushing, causing the universe to expand and to accelerate in its expansion. It wasn't until, as I recall, the data that came back from 1998, from whatever observations astronomers, astrophysicists were doing, they determined that yeah, the universe is definitely expanding, and it's expanding at an increased rate. And in order for the amount of matter and energy, i.e., equals mc squared, to stay balanced in the universe, there's some sort of energy force that's causing it, and that's actually an energy force. That amount of that energy is actually greater than the amount of matter of regular matter and dark matter combined together. So, isn't like 70% or something like that is estimated as of the universe is dark energy.
Oh, interesting.
And that's new physics. That's stuff that happened within our lifetimes. That's was finally identified circa end of the 1990s.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that. I first heard about it like 10 or 12 years ago, probably. Um,
That's why if you get an older history or a science book or a astronomy book from the mid 90s, it's not even going to mention dark energy.
right, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, cool. And Patrick Swayze.
Still dead.
Okay.
He was in Roadhouse, and he wouldn't let anybody put baby in the corner. But he's unfortunately he's dead.
Okay.
But he has
What
a
do you
brother
remember what
that
he
was
did?
still alive. Who's an actor, looks a lot like him. I
Did
think
we, who looks a lot like him?
he has a brother who's also an actor.
Oh, a
Looks a
brother.
lot like him. Yeah.
So what did he die of? You remember?
Oh, I would guess I don't. Maybe some sort of cancer. It was something that took him young, unfortunately. Right?
Okay. Yes.
Some sort of untimely, unfortunate death brought on by some sort of something like that. Unfortunately,
All right, fair enough. Yeah, no,
too
you're right.
soon.
It's
Too soon.
I think it was pancreatic cancer.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Now he's a ghost, just like in that movie.
Just
That movie,
getting
Ghost.
close. Yeah. Um, yeah. I didn't know he was. I think by the time I saw that he had already died. So it's interesting. Actually, that guy from Wisconsin did that movie, right? Jerry Zucker, I think.
Yeah, didn't he have a? I think I seem to recall that is the case. He had some sort of hand in it. Yeah, when he directed it.
I think he
Yeah,
directed it. Yeah.
yeah.
Good. All right. Cool. All right. Any memorable lines from Casablanca?
Uh, here's looking at you, kid.
Okay.
Something about you got to get on that plane.
Yeah.
You won't.
And
Something
then,
about you'll regret maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you'll regret it.
yep.
This might be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. What is that song? As time goes by,
Did they
as
say anything to
time
the?
goes by.
Did they say anything to the piano player?
Up, he the line, "What play it again, Sam?" But what that was never actually said in the movie,
Yes.
something like that. I think that's the case. There's that scene where like the the French officer is amazed that there's drinking in his establishment, even though like there's alcohol in this establishment. I'm amazed.
Right.
I haven't seen Casablanca in quite a long, probably more than 20 years.
Ah. Okay. Fair enough. Um. I don't know if I actually ever saw the whole thing. Um. Okay. Did Publishers Clearinghouse have a spokesperson?
I thought they did. Didn't they have Ed McMahon at some point? I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't he die at some point, and then they brought in somebody else? What, Dick Clark?
I don't know.
But then, like Dick Clark, had a stroke, and then he wasn't the best spokesman after he had that stroke.
Eh. Did he hand anybody a check? Did he go like house to house, Ed McMahon?
I don't think he did. I think they had their goons in a van that would just mob people's houses with balloons and a giant check.
Uh-huh.
For I seem to recall Dick Clark was there, and maybe Ed McMahon was there at some point.
Okay, okay. Got it. Okay. All right. Uh, do you remember what it says on side mirrors for cars?
Uh, Something about how objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, or something to that effect. I don't remember the exact language.
No, you're
I think
you're
that's
you're
I
you're
think that's what they're trying to impart upon you. That
yes.
don't rely on that for true depth
Right.
perception.
Right, right. Okay, fair enough. Um, where do you stand on the multiverse theory?
Oh boy, I'm willing to accept that there is some sort of multiverse. It's probably not what we see in Marvel superhero movies. It's much more some sort of like 11 dimensional, delineation of those dimensions, wherein anything that's possible, or nearly anything that is possible, is happening somewhere, someplace, in some alternate dimension. And in dimensions where the physical laws, the constants of the universe, like the gravitational constant, Planck's constant, I don't know, the mass of elementary particles varies a little bit, and sometimes in those alternate universes, matter can't even clump together, and it's a boring universe exists in those alternate multiverses because nothing can happen, nothing interesting.
Really?
Yes, I will. I accept that the multiverse is real.
Hmm. But you don't think there's like life of any type or anything like that.
I'm sure that there are. I'm sure that there is in some. There's life in this universe, and I'm sure there's a universe right next door to us. So to speak, where the physical laws are just slightly different, but
Hmm.
not different enough to prevent life as we know it from forming, or maybe in other places, life as we could really begin to understand it has formed, given their physical laws
Hmm.
in universes.
Okay. That's interesting. So, I don't know if you subscribe to the theory of where if somebody makes a decision, then the decision that wasn't made spawns an entirely
Yeah.
new
Oh,
universe.
yeah, I accept, for all practicality, that is the, yeah, I accept that as the case. It might not be, a quick, it might not be an obvious, quick splitting. It's just that there is a universe where that happened, tangentially. One where Michael Jackson is still alive, or, the Queen of England is still alive, and we can't, unfortunately, we can't walk there because we can't get to that universe.
What about Ruth Gordon? Is she still alive in
Ch-
that?
Probably not.
Okay,
Uh, Not unless what she's like nearly 130.
it's true. So you're saying deaths that we could have prevented, like Michael Jackson's.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, could you argue there's a universe where Ruth Gordon was born in 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, the exact somebody we could consider for all intents and purposes Ruth Gordon could have been born 30 years later than which the actual Ruth Gordon we know was, sure, and then that
Hmm.
person could still be alive today, but that's meh,
Well, then
that's
she
all part of
probably
the
wouldn't be in
multiverse.
those
Yeah,
movies. So yeah,
yeah, she would have been too young probably to be in Harold and Maude then,
or where's Bob?
unfortunately.
But yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Okay. Next is you describe what C-3PO looks like in Star Wars.
He is gold. In the original Star Wars, I would say that he is all gold and he does not have any appendages which are a different color, to my recollection.
Okay. All right. And Pikachu. Uh,
What about describe him?
yeah, just describe him. Yeah.
He's a Pokemon and he's got um, a tail that's like kind of shaped like a lightning bolt, and he's got two ears, and like isn't there like a black tip at the end of each one, and he's smiling and he's got like rosy red cheeks and eyeballs and a big happy mouth, and he flies
Yeah.
and he looks a little bit fat like a squirrel. I don't know.
What color
Is
is
that,
he?
I I would call him yellow.
Okay, and he has what other color?
He's got black tips on things, yeah, in his eyes or his ears or whatever those are, those antennae, or I'm gonna guess they're ears.
So on his ears, eyes,
Yeah.
and his tail, or no?
I do not I not I think it no, actually, no, not on his tail. I'm trying to think. I think it's the shape of his tail that varies from female to male Pikachu's, but not. There's no other any coloring on his tail, as I recall.
Huh. I didn't even know there were female and male.
Maybe that's just a Pokemon Go thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you're on
I
some.
I didn't have Pokemon growing up. I just know Pokemon Go or what I've seen on kids' T-shirts.
Yeah, no, well, you're definitely better at it than most people had it growing up. Um, great. Uh, is there a famous line from The Wizard of Oz that you remember?
We're off to see the wizard. I'll get you, my pretty. Um, Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Uh,
uh, um, there's no place like home.
what about when she first lands?
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Right, okay. Got it.
He
Okay.
says, she says that to her dog. Maybe yeah. Who
Okay.
knows if that actually happened? I guess that's what we agree. She
Right.
said.
Yes, okay. And what about the Reverend Billy Graham?
The Reverend Billy Graham. He's still dead, and he was not the superstar Billy Graham, who was a professional wrestler.
Oh, I didn't even know there was one. Okay, when did he die?
The Reverend Billy Graham or the superstar Billy Graham?
Well, let's start with Reverend, and then we could go to the other one.
He died. He died recently. Didn't he die like in the last like 5 years or something? Or Billy Graham Senior, wasn't he still sometime in the last roughly? I'm going to say sometime in the last 5 to 6 years. So I'll say 2018. He died.
Okay, good, good. And what about the wrestler?
Superstar Billy Graham. He died.
Yes.
He died last year. That's why I bought up a bunch of autograph stuff that he signed because he actually was old. he needed money, so he was actually autographing stuff and stickers and stuff for the latest WWE product, trading card releases, even into 2022.
Huh.
So, and
So,
then he died early last year. He died of I think of cancer or something.
was he like like that old or
He was I believe he was just I think he was 79 because he was going to be he did not he wanted to live to 80 but he didn't make it. He was 79.
Okay, okay.
But as I recall of the superstar Billy Graham, but he was in bad health and it wasn't unexpected when he died.
So I guess the Reverend technically lived longer, although not, you know, in
I suppose, yeah, it wasn't the Reverend Billy Graham. Didn't he he was like an old desiccated guy living on the power of Jesus?
probably. I don't know. I actually don't know how old he was, but I think he hung in there a while.
Yeah, I seem to recall thinking when he died, like, God, didn't he die years ago? Guess not.
No, yeah, yeah. So
Didn't his career die in the 70s and 80s? I don't know.
that's possible. Okay, cool. And Mr. Rogers, what does he sing at the start of his show?
Oh, what? It's something about how it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Hmm.
That, and how that's how he sings at the beginning, right? Or maybe he sings that at the end. I don't know. Whenever he sings it, whenever he wants to.
No, no,
He's like fuck. He's like fuck you. I just want to break into song. It's my show, and he's had his sweater's a little tight, and he's had a little bit too much to drink, and he just breaks into song.
ah, okay. Is that true? He was actually an alcoholic or something?
Probably not. Wasn't he an ex-marine? We saw service during World War II, but he wasn't. People have always claimed that he was a sniper and killer, but he wasn't.
Oh, I don't know. I think I heard something about that.
He was actually a very sweet, wonderful man with a beautiful, large heart and a big heart for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
Can't
all.
say anything bad about Mr. Rogers. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's all we want to remember. Him actually. Okay. Cool. How about the famous scene in Risky Business?
Risky Business isn't risky. That's the movie with Tom Cruise, and he's like in his underpants, and he's happy that his parents are gone, so he's like singing and dancing in his underpants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else about that scene?
I don't know. I've never seen the movie.
Okay.
I'm just going by what pop culture has told me.
Ah. Okay. All right. And what about Neil Armstrong?
He's dead.
Okay.
We're asking probably what he said on. Didn't he completely screw up his lines when he got to the surface of the moon and said, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. But he should have said amen, not man. But he claims that he did say amen, but the speaker cut out. Maybe it
One
did.
small
I don't
step
know.
for a man, one giant. Oh, I.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. Speaker.
Supposedly the A was left out. Some people claim that he claimed that he did say it, but it just wasn't audible or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. And
Yeah, you'd think if they faked the moon landing, they'd get the lines right. They would have done it right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
They
about
could have
right.
done a second. They could have done a second take, or they could have just audio dubbed it. Yeah, you think if they faked that, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Actually, I was wondering when he died. About when he died.
Neil Armstrong didn't he die recently in the past decade? Didn't he? American Buzz Aldrin is still alive. I'm going to say Neil Armstrong died sometime in the 2010s, is what I recall. Early
Okay.
part of the 2010s. I don't recall. It made the news. First man on the moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lived a rich life. Yada yada.
Well, despite that, I think he punched some guy in the face for saying that he didn't land
I
on the
thought
moon.
that he might have. I know Buzz Aldrin did that. There's video on
Oh,
YouTube.
Buzz Aldrin did that.
Yeah, well, Buzz Aldrin's like a crazy old man who's like, with getting a new wife like frequently, as I recall, with who's like, hot wives.
Huh.
But you can do that with
he's
your Buzz
still alive.
Aldrin. Yeah, Buzz Aldrin. Yeah, he hosted Monday Night WWE Monday Night Raw. Sometime in the past decade, as I recall.
Oh, interesting.
And you just let Buzz Aldrin go on, and he was kind of wacky and all over the place. You just fuck it, let Buzz Aldrin be Buzz Aldrin. Let him do second man
Interesting.
on the fucking moon. Just let him do what the fuck he wants.
Was there like a third guy in the ship when
Was
they
there?
went?
Yeah, wasn't there some guy like his name was Collins, and he had to be he had to stay behind in the thing flying around. Was it Michael Collins was the guy? He had to stay behind and wait for them to come back after they did their moon landing, and he had to be the pilot or whatever.
Okay. Well, I wonder why he never went out, or did he go out?
He never made it to the surface of the moon. He just orbited the moon, waiting for them to come back
Oh,
to him.
okay, got it. Huh. That's interesting. I still don't know how they got the camera to move on the in those videos they have where they showed they have the camera like able to move. I guess it was.
Didn't the pictures are like of Buzz Aldrin? The camera was set up by Neil Armstrong at some point. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I don't know how they did it. How they did the cool effects and how they did it. I still the moon landing really did happen because the easy part is faking the moon landing and shooting footage of it. The hard part is getting people to shut up about it and destroy all the evidence of a fake moon landing. It'd be easier just to go to the goddamn moon.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay,
I
great.
mean, you only need to use Newtonian physics to go to the moon. You don't even have to worry about general. You don't even need to worry about general relativity and Einstein type stuff. You can just do the simple math that Newton had to get to the moon.
Yeah, like vectors or something.
Yeah, you don't have to
Cal-
worry about time dilation and other crazy shit. Like it is easier to go to the moon, at least from a scientific standpoint, than it is to play Pokemon Go, because Pokemon Go you actually have to compensate for time dilation for the satellites that are experiencing the GPS satellites, because they experience time at a
Uh-huh.
slower rate because they are further from the center of the because they're moving, and
Uh-huh.
because they're yeah.
Yeah, but isn't there still a delay in communication between the moon and
There
like
is.
NASA? Yeah.
I mean, like the speed of light, like roughly 1 second or so. That's why you heard that delay, in Neil Armstrong's communication,
Hmm.
and them responding, receiving a message and then responding back to it. That's why you heard that roughly 1 second delay, 1.5 seconds, whatever the hell it is.
All right. All right. Huh. Now, does it break the laws of physics for there to be life after death?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe. I suppose. I guess that depends what you consider life after death to be. You mean just like hovering there is like a disembodied ghost being like, fuck, well, I can't touch anything?
Yeah,
I, I,
maybe.
I suppose maybe somehow matter could somehow reorient itself into some sort of like conscious ghost.
Hmm.
I don't know if you
Okay.
consider that life after death, or if you're saying could you spontaneously come back alive again after dying, maybe. But then again, that goes back to the same way Grandma would have to reassemble herself from the dead.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wasn't talking about coming back in your own body, but
Like reincarnation type stuff.
no, no, no.
I really don't think so.
We talked before about bringing back someone from the dead, meaning they would come into their own body. Life after death would mean like a.
I suppose you could, in theory. Well, I guess you could imagine if you were able to know enough about somebody, about the position and content of their body, all the matter in their body and all their memories. You could somehow reconstruct them. You would have to have you would almost need godlike prowess to manage that much data and to recreate them, and how you would go about doing it.
Hmm.
I couldn't begin to speculate, but I guess that once again falls under matter in the universe could spontaneously reassemble itself into a living person who once lived in the past and with all their previous memories, and they could just go on with their life at that point.
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I only have two more. Let's see, this one's more relevant. Recall the exact date of the Challenger explosion.
I seem I seem to recall that was January 28th, 1986.
Jan 28th, 1986. How do you remember that
And
exact?
I remember. Well, I remember the day. I remember where I was because we came in. I was in first grade. Came in from lunch or whatever, and the teacher sat us down. Our first grade teacher, Miss Bartelt, sat us down and told us how the Challenger, the space shuttle exploded. And then, of course,
Oh,
it was all nothing. It was all on the news, and later that night.
okay. Yeah, I guess you can remember where you were. So it was winter then.
Yeah, I get. Well, certainly in the northern hemisphere, or certainly in Wisconsin.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Last one. I don't know why I said nothing about another explosion. Do you recall the Black Tom explosion?
The Black Tom explosion.
Yes.
Uh, that
It's a reference to Black Tom Island on.
was it something. It was something from World War II, is what I recall, or maybe it was World War I. Wasn't it some sort of? Um, I I don't. It was some sort of like some sort of like intelligence. I don't know, espionage thing to destroy munitions during.
Yeah.
And it was done by the Germans against the Americans, as I recall, or against the Allies. I don't know. I guess we'll call it the Allies.
Hmm. Was there a?
And it was no, sorry. It was in. It was in America. I'm gonna guess somewhere like probably like I'm gonna guess New York Harbor.
I think you're probably right. So, was there a specific death count on that? Like,
I have no clue.
okay.
The idiot smoking in the powder in the powder cake.
Yeah, the idiots one.
He didn't make it out.
Didn't we use that in the was it like Spanish and American War?
Yes, yeah, about the destruction of the Maine in
Yes.
what, Savannah Harbor. Yes.
Idiots smoking in the powder theater.
Smoking in the powder room too.
Cool. Well, that's all I have here. That's
All
really
right,
good.
you take that and you run with it.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Um.
Okay.
All right. I have. Yeah. No. We're. Yeah. Well, yeah. So it seems like with this no right, no wrong answer format, he got, I believe, 12 right and I think 8 wrong. I think mainly the what's up, Chloe? Mainly the questions he got wrong were things that had entered pop culture under, certain pretenses. He did catch the play it again Sam thing, which was good. But there are definitely some specific visual Mandela effects um, that he was able to successfully recall with a lot more detail in his head. So anyway, if you want to see him do more, I can get it, another list together, can do that research. Or if you want to see follow-ups on some of these, I know I didn't dig quite as deeply as I wanted to on a few of them. Specifically, like the James Bond thing and the risky business. I think those were areas I could have gone into a bit more depth on. But anyway, if you want to see that, leave a comment. All right, till next time, possibly, or maybe not.